another Bachi Chronicle. Let's see. Did the come into Navy, switch into the division, dealing with the Navy SEALs. Basically, in the Navy, you just go out to sea. We travel around, went to the Gulf a couple times. Golf it wasn't horrible because we're not on the land, we're in the water, so we're watching. I mean, shooting missiles and stuff, and the airplanes taking off, going to do their jobs and stuff. I think the hardest thing about the Gulf was the heat and the gas masks and stuff, because you've got to wear these flame retardant, like, hand things in this mask in case of fire or whatever, like what firemen wear. And those things are hot as it is. And then on top of that, you have to put on this gas mask. And remember, this is 1995, so it's not high tech or anything. It's just literally just a big mask. And here's one. So when you're on a gun mount, like you're mounting a 50 cal, the big guns that you see like on trucks and stuff, huge guns. Usually have a three-man team. One is the gunner, the shooter. The one is a spotter, and the other was the radio who's communicating. So we're sitting out there, and you have the gas mask on, which is just it's so hot. And you got to remember, you're in the Gulf. You're traveling around the Gulf, and it's like 100 and some degrees. It's hot. You look into the water, and there's like sea snakes. I don't know what they are, sea snakes or eels or whatever, but they're just everywhere, just disgusting. And if you can't take your mask off during general quarters, which is like a battle prep, preparing, make sure you're ready for in case something happens. They have these canisters that you can drink from water, but it has a little hose from the gas mask that goes into that canister. And okay, imagine the easiest way to explain it is imagine 102 degrees weather. You're trying to drink a milkshake, the thickest milkshake that you could ever buy, and if you can get one little ounce of that milkshake in your mouth, you can win $1,000. So you just suck so hard trying to get that little bit of liquid, because the way this tube is into the thing, you just, no matter how hard you suck, it just doesn't flow, and you pass out. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you just suck, bam. So I remember one time I was doing something. We're out there and doing GQ or something, and it was so hot. And I'm on the gun. I think I was on the gun, and then the guy was, spotter, kind of helper. He helps replenish the bullets when you're out or whatever. We're just GQ training and stuff. And we're talking. And when you see something like on the horizon, you see a helicopter come in, even it's yours because, you know the helicopter, but you still have to call it in and say, hey, on the horizon or about 500 yards out, I see and they measure the angle by your fingers. You put your finger on horizon 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see 500 yards out at 3, which would be this angle. And the ship is like a 360 degree. So if you're here, that would be if you're at the other end, it'd be 180. Yeah, 180. Yeah, 180 here. So if it's the helicopters back here, you say 500 yards out at 180. Position 3 or whatever. I don't remember how it was broken down, but it told the people that are in the tower where to look. So they look and they call in, and you say, is it friendly or foe? So you find out if it's a friendly coming in or if it's a foe. If it's a foe, of course, you prepare, and if they get too close, you have to unload fire. So we're calling this stuff in, and the radio guy stops talking. You can't hear him saying anything. You can barely hear him wearing these gas masks anyway. It muffles everything just like this. So I'm like, friendly or foe? Friendly or foe? Just let me know, procedures. Look back, and the radio guy is just passed out, just on the ground, out. I guess the heat got him. And so you just, the next guy takes the radio, calls in for medical emergency, come get him, a switch him out kind of thing. But it was bad. It was hot. It was Bailey. I remember Bailey. He was afraid of the water. He couldn't swim very well. Yes, I know Navy. Why can't it just? I don't know. It just people do it. They don't expect the ships to sink. So I remember we were on night shift one time, And I think, I don't remember if we were in a typhoon the day before, whatever, but we had to get the guns back. And the guns are left in lockers around the ships. So you can, when it's ready to prepare, you just get the gun and, right there. So we had to get the guns back to oil them and clean, grease them and stuff because, the salt water gets in there and it, messes with them. So I don't remember what it was, but somebody had to go to the very front mount, which is, you have to go like by the flight deck. And these two, I think it was 2 or 3 things. So if you go through the ship, it takes forever. But if you just go over the flight deck, and if they're not flying, of course, when they're flying, you're not allowed to go across the flight deck. But if there's no flights, So anyway, I think we drew straws or Jonkin or what do you call it, rock, scissors, paper. And Bailey, he picked a small straw, and he's like, I don't want to go out, but you lost. So we're waiting there, and we split up the teams. I think that's what it was. We split up the teams. Each person had to take, there's 10 guns around the thing. So it was like, 4 here, and the 2 on the back or whatever. So I went and got my guns. Maybe Dahl or whoever went and got his guns. And so we get back to Armory, and we're cleaning them. And Bailey's nowhere to be seen. We're waiting. And we finish our guns. I mean, we're just like, and we don't have cell phones, so you can't call somebody. This is way back when, so there's no way to call anybody. And plus, we're in the middle of the ocean, so I don't even think there's a signal if you did have a phone. So finally, about 2 hours later, I want to say maybe an hour and a half later, Bailey comes in, but he is white. And I remember, he's a black guy, but he's just pale white. He's shivering and shaking, and we're like, what happened? Are you okay? So after he calmed down a little bit and he was all, and he explained the story, I guess he went to run across the flight deck to go get the gun because where we split up at, that was the quickest path. And I mean, it's pitch black. You're in the middle of the ocean on night shift. The only light that you have is basically from the moon, unless you're inside the ship. So he stepped, like he missed the edge of the flight deck, and he fell. And he thought he fell overboard because the net caught him. There's like nets around the ship in case you drop things or in case people fall. So he thought he fell overboard. So he's in this net, and it's like he's pushing out his helmet because we had like the battle helmet things on, and he's just like in the position he's too afraid to move because he thinks he's like on the edge of the ship and he's overboard and he's about to die if the net snaps. So he stayed in this position for maybe 20-30 minutes just screaming for help. And it's at night, nobody's around. It's probably, I don't know, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. So nobody's outside the ship there. There's just nobody there. So finally, I guess he gets enough courage and he gets his way around and he gets off the net and he realizes he wasn't over the ship. It was just where the people walk. Like there's an area right here where you can walk and there's like a net for stuff that falls in. And then it's the other side of the ship. He was right here. He was literally just 4 foot from the what do you call it, sponson, where people can walk and you go out there and look and work and stuff like that. So if he would have just rolled over and put his foot down, he would have felt it. But he thought he was literally on the other side of the ship trying to figure out a way to get back, freaking out. So needless to say, he had like a neck injury I think he couldn't turn his neck for like almost a month. It was just funny. When he was telling the story, and then when we went and looked at where he was the next day in the daylight, I mean, I understand why he thought it, but he was just running across the deck and just fell over. I mean, anybody would freak out. And I actually went over the ship one time. Yeah, thinking about it. It was my very last cruise. I was getting out of the military, and there's a thing called a RAS, Replenishment at Sea, I think it stands for. And we're a big ship, so we're a carrier, 5,000 people. It's like a little city. You can't pull into these small ports and replenish. You can't get more food and stuff. So what they do is they bring another ship next to you that could pull in and get stuff. And then we take their stuff to us, and helicopters bring it over. But us as gunners, what our job is to do is we have like a M14 with a gas round. It's like just a round that shoots gas. And at the end of the M14 is some Mark II, I forget what they called it, but it's like looks like a Coke can, a big Coke can attached to the front of the gun. And inside that Coke can, you put a rubber bullet. And the rubber bullet has like a fishing line, almost like yarn. I guess it's more like yarn attached to it. So you shoot it, and when you shoot it to the ship, you have to make sure the angle and the wind, because you're you're traveling on the sea, 20, 30 miles an hour. So you shoot it. So the bullet, it's big. The rubber bullet is the size of your fist. I mean, it's about that size. It's just a big rubber bullet. So when you shoot it around, it just gas and just shoots that bullet out of the gun, and it catches the wind, and then the wind brings it and lands on the other side of the ship. So those people grab that bullet, they bring in the yarn, and then from there they attach the yarn to like a thicker cable, and from the cable it gets bigger and thicker, and then that's when they bring over the gas hoses and stuff and start to suck the gas and replenish. So our job is I think 1, 2, 3, 4 spots on the ship. We shoot those strings over, those lines over, and people on the other ship, there's direction people, and they have their little direction things, and they tell you, okay, you're ready to go, and then they hide and you shoot over. So we play games. If you can hit the paddle out of the guy's hand, it's 10 points type stuff. You're not supposed to do that. So we didn't do that, actually. That was a lie. So you get out there and you shoot, and it goes, and I think me and Dahl were probably two of the best people, because Dahl was just pure country. He always beat me at the ranges. He was always number one. I think I came in second a few times. So anyway, so it was my last cruise, and I had the easiest spot. It was the flight deck shooting straight down. So that's just easy. The ship's there, you just shoot there, and it was a beautiful, best shot I'd ever shot. It went, and it went to the other ship, and it hit the thing, but it wrapped around the rails. So it was like, and the guy just come out and unwrapped it, and it was just a perfect shot. And even the bosun's mate, or whoever it was, which is like the people that handle all that, the oils and the ship itself and stuff. He was like, great shot, best shot I ever saw. And I'm like, yeah. And we were in a kind of a typhoon at the time. So I remember it was waves were heavy, but I was on the flight deck, which is way up. So waves were hitting, bam, bam, bam. And the wind, because usually you shoot like this, but I mean, I literally shot like that, and it made it, just pure luck. But the sponson that I always shot at was the hardest sponson, because it was between the two ships and it's lower, so you get the waves in there. So I'm down there, and I finish, and I run to the armory, because you only have like 3 or 4 rounds to use, those gas rounds. And so I go back to the armory, and the armory's talking to the sponson that usually I'm on, and I hear him talking, and he's like, we need more rounds. So I was like, I have 3 left, because if you use more than what you're supposed to use, the military is very strict about that stuff. I mean, you have to fill out paper why you're down 2 rounds and stuff like that. It's just such a pain. So I told him, here, just take my 3 rounds or 2 rounds, whatever, just, they're yours. So the gunner told me, the boss, he was like, isn't that your spot? Just go take the shot. Just these guys can't do it, because they missed like 3 or 4 times already. And even the other sponson guy came over and missed again. So I run down there, and it's just a mess. I mean, waves are hitting and stuff. And the way it is you're here with a gun, and there's a guy next to you holding the yarn itself. He's one of your team. And when he gets over there, he's got to squeeze it to stop it from unraveling. And then they hand it off to the bosun's mate, which are the people that handle the ship stuff, like the gas hoses and stuff. And then from there, they do the rest. After that, we don't touch it. The bosun's mates are usually pretty, they're like mechanics. They're just big guys. So we're down there, and I get down there, and everybody's drenched. There's just water and everything, and they come off. And I gave the guy my rounds. I was like, here you go. And he was like, no, take the shot. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I knew the bosun's mate there, because that was my sponsor. I always do it, the senior chief or the chief, big guy, huge guy. I mean, this guy could have been WWE. He was like, McCarty, get out there, take the shot. Let's get this done. Because all the other sponsors are already done. They're waiting on this last one, and they can't do it until, they can't do everything until all the sponsors got their cables and everything. So I get out there, and we're between the ships, and there's just waves hitting, and you're in the middle. So there's 2 ships here, and you're just rocking. So the bosun's mate's got to give me the signal, the whistle to go. So he looks at me, and he's like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And I'm getting ready, and I'm looking, and the wind is just blowing. You see the flags just, oh, I'm just like, this is going to be hard. I knew it was going to be hard. I probably wasn't going to make it. So I'm like this, and I look at the bosun's mate, and, he's looking at me, and his eyes just get huge. And he's just like, and when I see that, I look back, and I see a wall of water, just like a wave. And this is, I don't know, 20 feet off, 20, 30 feet up, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to check sometime. Anyway, this wave hits me. And as it hits me, I fall, and I hit the cables, which is like the rails of the ship. And I wrap my arm around it, and it pushes me, and I go over. I literally went overboard, and I'm between the two ships, and the waves are hitting, and I see this big arm come there to grab me, and he just grabs me, and he's like, "Hold on!" And I got the gun in like one hand, but I got the strap, and I'm holding onto the cable, so I'm not like dangling. I'm just like holding on to the cable, and he grabs me and he pulls me over. We get down, and I'm, of course, I'm a little shaky and stuff. I just went over the side of the ship, but adrenaline and stuff, and like I swear to God, this is all true. I'm sure one of the people can vouch for it. So I'm I'm out there, and he was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay, Gunner? Are you okay?" And he's yelling at me, and yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then whoever was holding my yarn, that guy, he was gone. I mean, he left the spot as soon as that wave was getting close, kind of thing. So he comes back, and Gunner's like, let's take a break. Hold on, hold on. I'm like, no, let's do this, let's do this. And I'm shaking, but I got so much adrenaline in me, and I'm just like, let's just do this, let's get it over with. So I'm like, are you good? And the gunner, bosun's mate's like, yeah, we're good. Blows the whistle, go. So I just blam. I didn't even care, and it almost missed. It barely hit like the deck and bounced and almost come up, but they caught it. So I made it. First shot, it was done. It was clear. It's the last shot of my cruise too. So I would have, if I'd have missed, I would have broken my perfect record. So I come back, and now it's hitting me what happened, and I'm just shaking and stuff. And I think Gunner comes down, and he's like, "Everything all right? It's good." And I'm drenched, literally drenched, like and I'm like, yeah, it's good, it's good. And the bosun mate comes back in. He's like, "McCurdy, are you okay? Do you need to go to medical?" I'm like, "No." And Gunner's like, "Why? What happened?" He's like, "He went over the side of the ship, the effing, sailor mouth." So Gunner's like, "Are you all right?" I said, "I'm fine." He's like, "Take the rest of the day off. This is, we pull in tomorrow, or 2 days or 3 days. Take the day off. After that, you're done anyway. This is your rest day." So I literally turned in my weapons, checked in, everything, went down, took a shower, and I just took off my clothes and jumped in the rack, and I just went to sleep. I didn't even, I was so exhausted. I think I slept probably, 18 hours, and I don't sleep a lot. I was one of those 3-4 hour guys. Or I woke up the next day, and of course we have to do inspections in the morning, and my boots were white. It just looked like I had walked through snow because of all the salt and from going overboard. So I had to spend like an hour and a half polishing my boots and cleaning them up for the morning inspection. It was scary. I think that was one of the scariest times I had in the military. And they say that working on a carrier is like one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. It's got its times. All right, well, that was a long story, so that's part of Bachi Chronicles. So these are all military, so once I get into the out of the military, it'll be more celebs and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed. Later. Thanks for listening.